Okay, it's March 29th at 3 o'clock, and we're ready to start the Facilities Committee meeting. So I would ask Mr. Lawrence if you would have anything to start with A on the Ogdensburg Prescott International Bridge.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yep. What I'm trying to do here is just give you an overview of where we are with a number of projects at the different locations. So it's really just a review and an update on everything. And I was hoping, there's a lot there, but I was hoping to get through most of this within the hour. And Dave, if you've got any questions, kind of when we'll end up on the airport, I know you've got some marketing questions you might want to ask Stephanie there, so I'll try to get through to give you some time so that we can be ready for the 4 o'clock finance committee meeting. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes, that sounds good. I got to stay on. So, yep, all good to me. Ken, you okay with that? Okay.
Well, let me start with the bridge. As you know, we're in the second year of our Tiger Grant bridge rehab project. And to date, High and Second Steel has largely completed the access platforms they need to do this season's work. So they've been out there really for over a month now, doing that to get prepared to do spans 9 to 14, and that will be replacing the bridge decking and railing, or not railing, bridge decking and the curbing on that area of the bridge. The preliminary work of removing the existing guide rail and curb will be undertaken during daylight hours, mostly in the month of May. And then I believe it's going to be in May that we're going to go to night closure on the bridge, roughly from 7 or 8 at night, I believe, until 6 in the morning with that. And in some ways, with the COVID, that helps a little bit because we'll have less traffic, but we've got to make sure the traveling public is aware of what we're doing. This work will be ongoing this season. It's scheduled to include the 30th of November of this year. The painting contractor is scheduled to come back in a couple more weeks to complete the touch-up painting to the steel repairs on spans 1 through 8, and that work should be done in June. Just to update you, $7.2 million is being reimbursed out of the $19.7 million project cost. You can see the those two pictures right there are of the between spans 1 and 8. So you can see how the all of that paint and the structure there looks brand new. It's really amazing when you see it up close. What a great job they've been. And you can see it from a distance. You can see the difference from the port when you're looking at the approach of the difference in paint color. It's not washed out like the rest of the bridge. Does anybody got any questions on the Tiger Grant project?
I know just what you said, Steve. The pictures look great from some of the pictures I'd seen before in previous years. This looks like really timely and needed work. So it looks like we're making great progress.
Yeah, it'll definitely have an effect on our in-house maintenance and repair. There's going to be sections that, other than cleaning annually, you'll have a minimal amount of care that has to be taken, soon after this is completed. But it gives us a really good starting point. It helps us concentrate on the other parts of the bridge that really need the annual work. Everybody good?
Everybody good on that?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I brought in a little bit on the Thomas Park. The main thing we're working on is the child care initiative. The committee has had one meeting, and there was a number of questions that were asked, and what we did do is we invited the St. Lawrence Child Care Council to speak to us to the committee tomorrow night, and they did rewatch our committee meetings, and they were able to still have a lot of answers for us for that. Myself and Patty Nisco attended the meeting this morning with the St. Lawrence Child Care Council. They had a consultant who's been very involved in different industrial development and also working on early childhood education and child care. I'm trying to think of who was there. The gentleman from Arconic, they're looking to institute something up there with a project that they've got. And there was 8 or 10 people on there regionally, which was really good to get some back and forth on that. And Mr. Stewart will bring us up to date on that also. I think a number of you already seen kind of the notes that I put in here under child care initiative, and just to give you a background of kind of where we're headed. But this was put together before our child care initiative committee meeting, and there'll be more to add. But seeing how Jennifer and Dave weren't there, yeah, you weren't there. I just wanted to give you an update on that, and then we'll probably have a more comprehensive update at the board meeting. Any questions on that?
Yeah, Steve, I got one question, and that is this a separate build? Is this in our existing building, or is this thinking of a separate building?
Probably to be determined. It'll depend on what's required. Maybe, you know, for example, the existing 3-tier building, with the cost to bring it up to, you know, maybe today's standards, the building's over 30 years old, maybe that cost prohibits us from really, might not be a good fit for what think like the environment's changed with childcare, and the big emphasis when you think of childcare, you think of, and the example they use is, you know, you give a 3-year-old a coloring book, and as long as they're safe and I don't think that's childcare, but really the emphasis needs to be on early education and socialization and things like that. I'm sure, Jennifer, you know more about that than that because you've had quite a bit of experience with that. But there's a number of things that really have been lucky being on it that I guess you might know it, but when it's spelled out, then it makes a lot more sense to you. So anyway, to get your question, maybe it's not a good fit, but then again, it could be. But I think if you go either way, and I'm also talking with some of the tenants, there might be an advantage to doing one over the other.
Okay, thank you, Steve. I'm good.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to make a quick comment about this potential project of the child care center. I'm really excited about it. I know that there's a lot of fact finding yet to be done to see, you know, if this is a project that we can definitely move forward on. I just think that it's great from a community standpoint. You know, offering a service on our grounds would really be great. And also as a potential draw to businesses coming in, I think having an on-site child care, early childhood facility could be definitely a positive draw. So I just want to say I'm excited about it. So we'll see where it goes.
Great. That sounds, I mean, that sounds good. And like Jen, I'm excited too to see what comes from that. And certainly good opportunity here, and the committee's right on that. So that's good. Sam, anything?
No.
Okay. We'll move on to agenda item C1.
Okay, the C1 is all about, we received grants back in 2018, 19 timeframe to rehab the Grass River Rail Bridge and the Racket River Rail Bridge. And we did a lot of preliminary design engineering, and basically going into the year 2020, we had a bill of over $60,000, and we couldn't move forward until we knew how to pay for that. It basically, as you can see in there, that $60,000 was owed to the engineering firm since late 2019. We did submit some payment in early 2020 just to see if we could keep things rolling, and it did for a while, but then COVID hit and everything tightened up, and we asked for a no-cost time extension at the end of 2020 so that we could buy time and be able to use the grant by the end of 2021. And then the CFO looked into this, and we found out that some of this money is that we have already spent is reimbursable through the project. So currently, we've submitted those bills with the help of a lot of law firms, and they got into the details of the grant, and we have submitted all that, and hopefully once we get that money back, we'll use it as a bank to moving forward on our design and try to get that project ready for bid in June or July. And it should be easily taken care of in one construction season. So we're hoping to put that to bed, and that will upgrade the bridges so that we can have a larger capacity on the rail. It's been kind of the one thing that has been slowing or keeping us from going with larger capacity rail cars on our line. I think I covered everything right in there. I'm sorry. I apologize, Mr. Chairman. David and Jen, do you have any questions on any of that?
I don't. No.
Did you have a question?
Me?
No, Sam. I thought Sam said something. Sorry,
I do have a question. The question, actually, Steve touched on it. This project has been ongoing for a while now. As Steve has mentioned, with the upgrade to the bridges, it will allow us to have, I think, more opportunity to use the rail going into the port. And the sooner we get this project done, the better. It's been going on for actually too long. It's something we should have done maybe 3 years ago now. I'm trying to think. We talked about it 2016, 2017 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And this needs to get done, so I'm glad it's moving forward. Everybody's been very patient with us, but this needs to happen this year.
I assume most of this, if I remember right, was a weight restriction.
Yes.
So what's the weight we'll be able to travel with then? Is it so much a car or just so many cars?
That's a good question, Dave. I think they have to look at the combination on there, but I think generally it's 288 or up from 250. Don't quote me on that. But the bridges have been the governing factor on weight for the line. And then the rest is governed, the rail is to handle it, but, the rail and the condition of the rail, determines the speed at which they can go at. So you've got two factors, but when it comes to the bridges, weight governs the rest of the line there.
Okay. Well, this will
Okay.
certainly be good.
David, you know, as you know, we've had issues with the railroad. We have issues with locomotives. It's mostly been at our end regarding, you know, how much we've cooperated with Vermont Rail. And I think, you know, I really need to look at what we need to let Senator Schumer know for the infrastructure bill, what we could use on the railroad. I think, you know, Steve's more aware of what we need to do down at the port, where the railroad actually comes in, and how it can be to our advantage if we do some work down there. Maybe looking at different cargoes that we don't handle at the present time, because we just don't have the equipment. But, you know, I think, you know, the railroad, in my opinion, is an important part of our port, and we need to hopefully obtain more funding so we can improve what we can do down there.
Okay. I would agree with everything on that. Anything else? I mean, I think this thing's, it's time to get this done, and it's nice that we're moving forward with that. So it's a good thing. All right, we'll move on to the port. Agenda item D. Go for it, Steve.
Okay, I'll give you an update on the Port Harbor Deepening Project. That's the project that we're partnering with the Army Corps of Engineers. And that project is roughly $6.2 million. And it's split basically 65%, 35% us. And that project has been ongoing since 2014 or 15. And as you know, I think David, you know, and then Jen, you probably heard, it almost was ended at the beginning of January, February of last year. And there was some talk that because we hadn't committed our share of it, that the Corps of Engineers would take that money for other projects. We were able to reach out and get help from the DOT, state DOT and Senator Schumer's office, and they were able to allow us some time to get things together. The state of New York stepped up and they basically took care of our share of the project, and Senator Schumer's office was able to have the Corps of Engineers to, with that commitment, to keep that money for the harbor deepening. So we're going on over a year right now of just getting things in place, and come April, the project will be bid, and because it's a Corps of Engineers project, it won't be really a public opening. They'll be getting all of their bids, and then they will be reviewing them, and they will inform us of what their recommendation is. So it isn't like a public, I asked that question last week. Because it's so kind of large and complicated, and the things that they need to, that the contractor needs to meet the specs, that it's quite a review process with the Corps of Engineers. So it will be bid, and it will, we might know something there in May, and then the contract award won't be until the end of August. And because of that, depending on what the contractor wants to do, it'll probably start in the early part of 2022. So that will be the first thing that will start, will be the dredging, in the channel. And we're just thinking that it'll probably be late spring, depending on permitting and, spawning and things like that. It'll probably be the end of spring of 2022. And then that brings us to, D2, Mr. King, and that, we won't start the dock expansion until, we know the dredging contractor's schedule, because, what we get into is, the dredging contractor will be blasting, and, our portion of it will be driving tile, and, those two are incompatible in that, one makes the other very unsafe. So, if we were to try to start at the same time, there'd be, too much stopping of our contractors that would, raise the cost of our side of the project. So, we're kind of phasing, the dock expansion a little bit later so that it meshes with the contractor, the dredging contractor's, schedule, and, everyone can be more productive. So, you know, we'd like to get in, and get this done as soon as possible, but, just the means and methods of the whole project means that, we'll have to, kind of work things out, in everybody's best, interest and make it as productive as we can. So that project will be bid probably in, spring of 2022, and that will be with our, we're partners, or we're with, our consultant is both engineering and Tisdale Engineering out of, Tisdale Associates out of Canton. They, won the RFP for this work, at least 3 years ago, I believe, and, they stayed with us, and, what I've asked them to do, and Dave also suggested it, was at the time we closed the project down, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, we were almost 80% complete with design. So we're not gonna spend a whole lot more on design work until we know everything there, and there's no hurry for us. So we're gonna try to keep our costs down on design until we know, things for sure, on the dredging side. So, we haven't been, really using a lot of that, design money yet, which I think is a good thing, and that was suggested by the, consultant. So that will be, bid in spring 2022 and probably awarded late spring 2022. So, the middle of next year, the whole project will probably be starting, with quite a lot of activity right through, probably a whole year and a half. So we go from July of 2022 till probably November, December of 2023. So right now you're looking at, well, a 3-year project, with that, end of it, but really nothing will be actively going out there at least for another year, 14 months or so. But that's kind of what everyone's decided would be in our best interest. Any questions on that? You're kind of related, so I'll take any questions you might have on that.
Jen? Okay. Do you have a question or?
No, thanks, Steve. It was a lot of really good information, and I took a lot of notes, and no, it sounds good. It sounds like the timeline is really just rolling along. Yeah.
Steve, is there any anticipated issues with boats docking while we're doing that work, or?
Yes, there is anxiety over that and how we keep the port running. But given how we expect next year to be pretty good for wind. And we know how to manage that. I think there's enough, room there that we can kind of keep that separate. And the fact that we control all of our space will help. We can, keep the contractor, and probably they don't start till either the middle of next year. So maybe we'll have things already kind of stowed inland before, we get really started out there, but I don't see it affecting a lot there. It'll be crowded and you may have to change things around, but, I guess I couldn't say 100% that, I got it totally figured out yet. Good question though. Because, you do know how valuable those projects are to us and, we'll need to do whatever we can to make that happen.
Yep. Anything else?
Okay. No?
Okay. You can keep going.
Okay, P3 is kind of the status of our port security grant application. That is due, I think, in another month and a half. We've applied since 2012 or 13, almost every year. And we've gotten 2 port security grants, one in 2009 and one in 2011. And 11 or 12. And we've applied every year. And we haven't seemed to have much luck. So we've kind of scaled things down. And I have heard that the Northeast hasn't been very successful either with port security grants. But I'm told this year there's a need somewhere around, they want to be able to award somewhere over 200 awards, which is way more than, so I think they're splitting it up. So with that, we're trying to keep ours manageable, somewhere in the 150 to 200,000 range. On that, so in number 3 there, the security grant, the security camera system upgrade. Well, that's a system that we got back in 2009 and it's now 12 years old and really needs an upgrade and replacement of certain things. So that's not a new system. Cybersecurity is a large part of port security and just security in general with federal facilities. So we're going to have to upgrade our whole computer system down there to a certain standard with firewalls and things like that. We've applied, I believe, for 2 years and haven't gotten anything on that. And we're trying to focus this one a little bit better, and hopefully we can obtain some grants. The main entrance gate, they're going on 9 years old. The other ones are, let's see, the other ones are at least 13 or 14 years old, and we're looking to upgrade them and also bring quick card readers to the port, which the quick card is a transportation worker identity credential, and everyone that works at the port is required to have one. So we're looking, and what they could do is they read it and validate that ID. So those are the 3 main areas that we're going for security grant there, and I'm getting help from Leanne West, who's the strategic development, helping us with that. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the positive side on this one. I think if we do everything right and focus on our needs, I think we're hoping to be successful with that one.
Questions? Sounds good.
Okay? Number 4 is the Passenger and Rail Assistance Program, PFRAP grant application. That one is due at the end of April. What that's asking for is rail-related projects that increase the efficiency and security of anything associated with rail and the same and at the port. So with that, you're allowed to upgrade with capital projects. And what we found since I did this, that for dock inspection and design work does not qualify. They want projects that actually are going to be ready to, they want to put people to work here. And so they're looking for capital projects. And so that, or it's needed, but it's not being able, it won't be able to be funded by this. So you can scratch that off of there. But on Port P2 roof, we store a lot of valuable cargo in there. And David, you know, the price of fertilizer, corn gluten meal, different grain products in there. And we've been patching over the last year because salt gets in between the joints of the roofing panels. It just sits there and doesn't wash off. And we end up with corrosion and slight leaks throughout the building. And it's been a really difficult problem with other than a whole roof replacement. So, and we did have wood pellets in there, and water and wood pellets don't go together. You can get spontaneous combustion. So we've had a lot of valuable products in there that need to be protected from any kind of moisture and weather. So now is the time to look at re-roofing the whole structure. And then with that, the overhead doors, we only have 2 that work. There's 6 there. The rough cost of those doors was $30,000 to $45,000, depends on what you get. But we kind of limit our access around the building to where we only operate out of the east door, and there's 1 door available on the dock side. But to have the ability to go any side of that building would really increase our productivity. So that's kind of how we're approaching our need on that for the Port Building P2. And if you've been out there, Port Building P2 is the really long building right there, right near the edge of the dock there. And in any of the pictures, if you were here right now, I could point to it. I think you know which building I'm talking about there. And then the other thing is asphalt paving. The paving is really deteriorated throughout the port. For anybody down there with your personal vehicle, it's not a good thing. There's certain areas that are just keep taking a beating, and over the last, really, we haven't done any real repairs to that asphalt in a good 15 years in its time. So we may submit for that on that grant here. I'm working with Leanne also on that, and we've got a pretty good plan ahead on that, but that'll be one of the first ones that we have to submit. Any questions on those?
I don't seem to hear any. So, anybody? Thank you for that update, Steve.
Okay, we'll work on number 5 there. I know better. The chairman has told me not to use acronyms, but I can't tell you what Christie stands for, but we did get that grant, so that's probably all that matters.
It stands for $1 million, Steve.
So we're awarded $1 million, 800,000 coming from the Federal Railroad Administration, and the 20% or 200,000 would be from the OBPA. And it will bring some valuable equipment and upgrades to the port. We already working with Leanne again. She took this from the middle of last year and worked with the FRA and their consultants. He got us back on track with it, and got it moving forward, and basically outlined the steps that we needed to take to start moving forward. So I did all the specifications for the equipment you see there, and I'm working with the CFO to do the timing so that we don't put all that equipment out at once. And you know, the Railroad Administration is okay with that. So that just today I put out the invitation to bid for the rail car unloader conveyor. That's roughly $150,000, and we're hoping, you know, if you give them roughly 180 days, whoever gets the award to get that piece of equipment to us, then we pay 20% of that roughly $150,000 cost. And then we will set up invitations to bid at a periodic time so that it will cover the other three. For example, the front end loader, we have the specs there and it's all ready to go. It's just, we'll find the right time for that. So we're looking for a front end loader that actually is one step above our main loader that we have now. And that would really get us in a really nice spot for equipment upgrades, because loaders, the whole port really runs off of how well we keep our loaders going. And they have been a workhorse for us for many years. And to be able to bring on another one, not just replace that, will be a real advantage to us. The next two are ship loading conveyor and a feeder conveyor are combined. The feeder conveyor, we take what you have, kind of if you saw the setup for the pellets that we have, wood pellets when we were loading, we had a feeder conveyor that the loaders would feed into, and then that would go into the ship loading conveyor and load the ship. That all worked really well, but a large part of that whole project was all the mold costs that QSL that we had to spend with QSL to get that equipment in here. Otherwise, we couldn't do the project. So in spite of all those mold costs, we were able to do the project, and we did pretty well on it. And we're hoping going forward that being able to have this equipment eliminates mold costs, thus we can lower our costs and be close to the customer and maybe make it more attractive to get more business with that. And it's not just wood pellets, fertilizer is one, you know, offloading road salt, all kinds of things that what a normal port should have in their arsenal of equipment. So that will be, and of course you've seen the conveyors that we still have on site that are, you know, really will be scrapped here this year. That was the large conveyor, the 1977 Farmer Green conveyor, and it made lots of money for the port, but it just wasn't economical to run. So we've been piling salt with mostly with loaders lately, and we'd like to get away from that if possible. So, like I said, we had help from Leanne West again on that, and that's a a good thing to look forward to this year. And any questions on the Christie grant?
No questions? Sounds good. Sounds like a good plan, so. And we keep moving forward, so sounds like you got a good plan with that. Thanks.
Okay. All right. I think we're doing fairly well with time here, so we'll go through the airport, Youngstown International Airport. There's two grant opportunities, and I'll start with the first one, is the New York State Revitalized Upstate Airport. We've been actively working to submit an application for funding for the state's $100 million fund for continued and renewal and modernization. So what we hear is there's going to possibly be 5 grants each totaling $20 million. And we are putting together a project to try to be one of those airports that receives that grant. In here, the project will expand upon the OBPA travel experience, enhanced security screening, and contactless technology, and build upon the airport's long-term sustainability in a post-COVID environment. The total project cost will be between 18 and 20 million. We're hoping to be around 18.5, with the idea that there'll be some contingencies required depending on what the state may ask. If we're awarded, they may ask us to put in some other things. Plus, we know that when these grants go out, they want to be done actually ahead of time and on budget. So when you do that, you've got to put a lot of resources and money in the front end to make sure that that happens. And currently, strategic development, that would be Leanne again, is working with Farley and Johnson and Stephanie at the airport. And we've met 2 and maybe 3 times periodically. We haven't had a meeting in over a month now. We're still waiting on the date of when those grants are due, and then so we're still waiting on all the instructions on how to file the grant and different parameters of what's required to submit the grant. So, Mr. Chairman, been involved in this. Have you got some comments? Something you look at?
I think, one of the things we've looked at, not so much an expansion of the terminal, which is what happened with the last round when airports were getting $40 million. For us, there's a different twist to it. We now know what we need at the airport. If we continue with hopefully another low-cost carrier, and obviously we have United for 3 more years. So, at some point in the future, the committee should look at some of the detailed plans that Steve and Leanne and McFarland Johnson have been working on. We think it's a better fit for our airport than what some of the other airports did in the past. And for us, because of the way our airport is set up now, there's some safety measures regarding where the fuel tank is and having to cross the runway and that sort of thing that we need to modify in the future. That would be part of this. So not only is it a safety issue for us, it's making our airport more practical in the sense of making it easier for the traveler and maybe less costly for the authority. I think Steve's on the right track. And again, in the future, I think the committee should look at the details and maybe make additional recommendations.
Thank you, Sam. I would agree with that. And, you know, just from a standpoint of we've had some years of experience here, and I agree with you, Sam, that we kind of know what we need. And it's really nice, and this would be a real value to us to be able to improve most everything we do out there and do it in a safe manner. So we look forward to the details of that when you guys get that together, and be happy to go through that with you.
We can also set up when we know more, we can set up a presentation to the facility committee or the board, whatever you choose.
It might be just as easy to do it with the whole board, just because I'm sure everyone would want to know. Save you doing it twice.
Even with the remote meeting, we could do that also, because you can put up a lot of things right there that you can see on so it shouldn't be too difficult to do.
Good. Anything else?
No, not on that one.
Okay, good deal. All right, let's move on to item 2.
Item 2, back in July of 2020, Stephanie worked with McFarland Johnson, and later on we worked with Leanne West again, in strategic development. And she and McFarland went through a number of things. There's an aviation capital grant that the top part of the award is 1.5 million. And we put in a grant request of 1.02 million. This was back in August of 2020. This is coming from New York State Aviation Capital Program, and the proposal grant included, and you can see, I won't name them all off, but you can see in there what was in that request. And it's basically really upgrade security and solidifies the number of facilities systems that, for example, you see the diesel generator, that really would be a great relief to know that we've got backup power out there, and you see security lighting and upgrading the doors. So that's kind of what was put into that capital request. I still haven't heard of where that is at, or any decision has been made on that as of a week ago. So I imagine with everything happening since last summer, with the pandemic and everything, that might be part of it. I'm not sure. But does anybody have any questions on that?
No questions? Most of that stuff looks like good things that we can use. So hopefully we get awarded that grant. And you think we'll hear soon on that, Steve?
Yeah, I think so, but maybe with state monies and budgets and things like that, I don't have any insight any more than anybody. Stephanie's on the call, maybe she's heard something more. Stephanie?
Well, no, sir. As of last Thursday, they have not moved on anything with the state. They're anticipating once the budget is taken care of within the state, they will move forward with these aviation grants. But they do not have a date as of yet.
Okay, is that DOT or is that just New York State?
That's DOT.
All right. No other questions? We'll move on to item 3.
Item 3, and then, Dave, I think we're working out pretty good that if you've got some questions for Stephanie on the airport, you'll have a little bit of time before our finance meeting. Number 3 is the MALS F, and I did spell that one out. That's the medium intensity approach lighting system with heat pump flashers. So that is for the Route 68 side. This project's been in the works for well over a year and a half, with the design, and we had a formal pre-construction meeting 17th of March, and kind of working out all the bugs there. And the contractor tells us that they will be mobilizing and doing survey work in April and probably start construction in May. And the total project cost is $1.4 million. I believe, if I recall correctly, I do believe the project will be completed in August or September of this year. And what you'll see is light bars as when you go by the east end of the runway out by Route 68, there'll be some light towers and bars actually to your right on Route 68, and then as you look back toward the runway, there'll be smaller as you're going toward the runway, and that will definitely increase safety for flights and pilots coming into our airport. Stephanie, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, I think the plans are going quite well. As far as working with the contractor, we anticipate work in the safety area around the runway in June right now. And as far as safety goes, this will be an incredible increase in safety to our ILS system. And hopefully that will keep our aircraft with lower minimums to enable them to come in when our weather is in bad shape. Right now, that's one of our biggest obstacles with aircraft. It's not so much what's on the ground, it's what's in the air right above the airport, the low visibility. This will help them to lower their minimum and be able to come in with worse weather. So I'm looking forward to having this completed.
Stephanie, can you, another acronym, ILS, can you just tell us what that is? Because I can't remember.
I'm sorry, you were garbled there.
ILS, you use that acronym. Can you tell the committee what that stands for?
Oh, Instrument Landing System.
Thank you.
And that consists of a localizer and glide slope.
Okay. So, Mr. King, that's kind of a review of everything where we're at facilities-wise. There are probably more things that we could have added, but in an hour's time, I didn't want to overdo it. I do know you had some concerns, and maybe this is a good time to talk to Stephanie about, I think you were talking about maybe the marketing and advertising.
I didn't really have concerns, just questions. And I did hear I believe must be the ad that Stephanie and I traded some email just as I had some questions. And she had said that I think the marketing campaign was about to start. I heard the ad on the radio this weekend actually about flying out of Ogdensburg. So that was really nice.
What was your first take on the ad? Did you like it?
The ad was good. The ad was good. So what I'm struggling with is the last 5 people I talked to think the airport's closed. So that just happens to be people I visited with lately. So obviously I don't think we've done enough to tell people we're open. And so Stephanie, I was hoping that you had mentioned that you would have, or thought you would have some sort of, you were working out a plan, I think, with the folks on advertising. If there's a chance that you had that written down, if you could just send that to the committee, just so we could review it.
Okay, was it, okay. Okay, I can send it to you right now. I do have a plan together, and we have a few other things starting to run. The good news is I was told today that Friday and Saturday, most of the aircraft are full. And I don't think it's the ads. I think it's the fact that New York State is opening up on Thursday. That was the first good news I've heard in a long time.
That's excellent news to hear to hear that the aircraft are full. And I know I flew a couple weeks ago, and when you got out of here and other places, the airports were full of people. I was hoping that was going to happen for us. And I think when you couple the experience of the reasonable cost and the zero parking fees that and the access and ease to our terminal, and we just need, it's obvious to me, we just need to keep telling people how great we are, because nobody's going to tell our story better than us or to help us. And so I just want to make sure we continue to do that. So anything we can do to help that is just great. Sounds like you've got a good plan.
Well, I hope so. And Anne Marie, I'll have to ask for the committee members' emails so I can send this out to them.
Sure.
Just pass. Is that the United ad I would have heard this weekend? Maybe then that they're the SkyWest that they're helping with, or?
No, if it was on the radio, it was OBPA's advertisement. The SkyWest advertises their airline exclusively, and they have started some pointed advertising in Florida.
Great, and I would just make sure to add we have free parking when you look at that cost and throw the parking in there. Boy, just caught my attention when I drove by the other day to see the extended parking area that's out on Route 68 charging $5 still, and knowing that our gates are up and it's free. So
Yeah.
I smiled to myself. So okay, any other questions? Jen, Sam?
Dave, two things. We need to be ready to move if there's anything going on at the federal level with an infrastructure bill. Things that maybe the committee and the board would like to see included. Funding for the Business Port Authority. Might want to consider that. In your committee, Dave, should think about how we're going to move on the new law passed regarding marijuana use and production. If we want to move quick with that and maybe attract a firm who might be interested in growing it somewhere in our facilities, either at the Commerce Park campus or at the port, or maybe out at the airport.
Those are great ideas. And so, and you want the committee to take a look at that, or should we? How do we proceed with that?
I think you and Jen should talk about it and see if you're in favor of the whole concept. Maybe bringing some information to the full board when we meet next week.
On the 8th.
On the 8th.
Okay, and then the only other thing I had, and I know we're starting to get into the finance meeting time. Another low-cost carrier or approaching Allegiant. The one thing I want to make sure of, at least with the airport, is that we don't wait for the border to open, that we're prepared when the border opens. And how do we get somebody on board to do that? And is there anybody in we're very short staffed, so I'm very concerned about that and how we get staff to do that, or do we need to start engaging somebody? So I wanted to have a little bit of discussion about that as a group too. So.
Dave, I'm sorry, Jen.
Did you have something,
You
Jen?
good, Jen?
Yeah, no, that wasn't me who was speaking. I think it was
It
Stephanie.
was me. Yes,
Oh,
I speak with
Dave,
I
Dave,
speak
I
with
think,
every
next week, maybe we should put a time together, have you and Jen here, with myself and Steve and Patty, and maybe we should, start making some phone calls.
Okay. Okay. I will, well, I'm wondering if that's what we need to do or how we go about getting that done. And Stephanie, you were looking to speak there. Maybe you've already done this.
I speak with Allegiant on a weekly basis.
Okay.
And right now, because of the uncertainty of Canada in particular, they are going to wait until the border is definitely open. And it takes about 3 months. They're already 3 months ahead in their planning. So if airlines are going to do anything, it'll be 3 months out before we see it. And right now, they told me that they are just waiting to see what is going on with the border, because so many times they've given a date for the border opening and then they pushed it back. So we won't see any flights through August right now with Allegiant.
Okay. So we'll have to try to, do you want to try to set a date or do you want to do this prior to the board meeting next week, Sam, or?
Meeting on Thursday? Yeah. Can we do it before, Thursday of next week? Whatever works. I'm off all next week. So whatever works for you two would work for me.
You mean just prior to the meeting, or?
So
The meeting's at 4, so
the meeting's at 4, we could do it earlier in the day.
Yeah, just
Dave,
a
are you
minute.
traveling? Are you traveling, Dave?
I'm traveling on Friday. Our meeting is what, the 8th, right?
correct.
So I could try to schedule some. Are you suggesting right prior to the meeting, Sam, or do you want to do it earlier in the day?
Whatever works for you, Dave.
Well, I would like to not kill the whole day. I don't know about anybody else, but if I could do it prior to the board meeting, I'm being selfish. So Jen, are you back or?
See, I'm more of the thinking of kill the chunk of the day and then have all the other days free. That's just me. But I mean,
Does 3 o'clock work then?
Yeah, you're gonna do 3 o'clock, Dave?
well,
If we
Dave,
wanna-
yeah, it's not my way it goes. Like, we can flip a coin if you want.
You do whatever it is. I mean, if we're looking for, what do we need? An hour and a half? We need to do 2:30?
Oh, no, now, so 2:30.
2:30?
2:30.
2:30 it is. And you want to meet there at the boardroom? Or do you want to do that virtual?
Yeah, that would be best if everyone has had their chat and feel comfortable.
I'm fully shot up, so I'm good.
Me too. And then
I'm
Dave, maybe,
bulletproof.
and Dave, maybe to just really make a whole day of it, you and I could talk, maybe on the phone, we could talk around 2 or so and
Okay.
see what we think about the marijuana,
Oh,
issue.
yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
right?
That's right. Yep, we can work on that. So I've got you at 2:00. We will visit.
Sure.
We will have a report for that too as well.
So do you want to meet? Do you want to just meet at the boardroom around 2?
Why don't we do that? Okay?
Yeah, okay, sounds good.
That makes it work, I think, for everybody. So we'll do that.
We'll do
Alright.
it.
Are we good? Is there anything
I'm
else
good.
you guys want to, go ahead? Sam, do you have something?
No, I'm good.
We're good.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Second?
Second? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And meeting adjourned. And,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
what's that?
Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll everybody have a good evening. I'll be back in a minute.
So just to clarify, I'm not joining the finance committee meeting, right?
No, that would be a quorum.
Correct.
Okay,
You don't need to
Just
do that.
right. Okay, thank you. Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.